Sitaraman.
Good afternoon.
You're going to participate as a keynote speaker in the Qatar Gas Distribution Project conference to be held next week. In this regard, we'd like to hear on this. What are the major gas projects in Qatar?
Major gas projects, as you know, Qatar Gas and Rosgas. Qatar Gas 1, 2, 3, 4. And similarly, Rosgas got multiple project space. If you look at Qatar Gas, the first one is exclusively dedicated for Japan, Qatar Gas 1. Almost 10 million tons of natural gas. Qatar Gas 2, consigning to Europe, Asia, and again Korea. Clearly, that is 7.8 million tons. Qatar Gas 3 again, 7.8, which includes United States, Europe, and Asia. Qatar Gas 4 is United States, Europe, Asia again, 7.8 million tons. So these are multiple projects, and 7 trains have been connected in each of this in the overall Qatar Gas projects. Rosgas also has got 7 trains. Rosgas, from exploration to refining to consignment, everything they do. And India, again, significant part of the West Asia, the United Kingdoms, because Henslow we have a major terminal, they consign. Those are the specifics which are being attempted. Both the gas projects, Rosgas as well as Qatar Gas as an enterprise today, has been the backbone of the Qatar Petroleum, and they drive the overall gas production and also transportation.
Well, what is Doha Bank experience in gas projects?
Doha Bank has been the prime supporter in terms of relationship and lending management for Qatar Petroleum. And we have major stake in the Barzan gas projects, Qatar Gas 2 projects. Barzan is multi-billion dollar project. We have committed for $100 million, and it has been for domestic consumption, how to explore. As on date, if you look at the gas exploration and consumption, within the definition, we have only 39% being captive consumption. Now, more and more with the expansion in the local market, with so much modernization and infrastructure being created, even aviation, we can supply the natural gas through the captive resources. And that's where Barzan plays a bigger role. Qatar Gas 2, again, it's a major opportunity, $60 million we are given. And that is, again, for gas exploration as well as transportations to various Asian economies, Europe and America.
Can you highlight us on financing trends on gas transportation projects?
See, the financing trends are now, as on date, if you look at it, it's limited. You can get the funding done through the export credit agencies, whether it is Exim Bank or Exec, or you can also get the financing done through commercial banks like us. Like I said, Doha Bank has participated in these 2 major projects. We have also got opportunities to have subordinated debt and senior debt can be issued. Bond buying is a major opportunity for them. Every single project can be backed up by long-term debt paper that can be mobilized through public offerings, and that's what Qatar Gas and Rosgas has done. Rosgas has mobilized over 25.6 billion. Gas transportation company like Nakilat has done over $6.7 billion, because debt paper is a major opportunity. Bond you issue, and then within the matured period, you have alternate resources to back it up and repay at time of maturity. You internalize the operational profit and then source the fund for long-term settlement. So those are the methods by which, but by and large, the export credit agencies are the major resource for them to fund, because they have back-to-back funding arrangements, which is cost-effective for the gas companies as well as gas transportation companies.
What are your insights on Nakilat's financing model?
Nakilat financing model is, we need to look at the risk as well as the returns. Now, financing, Nakilat has done in multiple forms. as I said, 6.7 billion has been mobilized between 2006, 2008, 2009. Even in 2009, when there is a major credit crunch in the world, they got oversubscribed 2.5 times. They have 25, vessels, and they need to back it up. Total 54 vessels, and these 25 vessels have been funded in multiple pockets. And if you look at the trend, they have done partly through export credit agencies, partly through senior debt, partly through bonds. Doha Bank itself has participated in Nakilat bonds and Rosgas bonds. So Nakilat model is a proven model, and risk measurements also you have to look at it. Shipyard risk, what is the vessel risk? Again, what sort of collaterals we are going to give, how we are going to make sure that the insurance, in the event of the operational risk comes in, how we are going to insure. So those are the financing models we need to look at it, and the interconnected advantage is to measure the risk and then map it through financing sources.
How do you think the gas transportation and distribution companies have tapped the bond markets?
Bond market, they have done well. As I said, the Nakilat itself is a classic example. The gas companies, producing companies, whether Rosgas or Qatar Gas, has mobilized financing. Rosgas has gone extensively in the bond markets. Doha Bank itself has got bond over $25 million. Nakilat also we have investments, and the opportunity is back to back. You make arrangements for this debt paper, and every cost is measured, and you know what kind of internal accruals or returns comes out of this, and repayment, the 3 years or 5 years or 10-year tranches, in multiple tranches you can issue. That's what Rosgas has done in multiple occasions, 3 years and 5 years and 10 years. In 2009 they issued, again of late they have issued. So there is a structured process by which this can be accomplished.
What are the major challenges for bank financing gas distribution?
The major challenge for bank is, can I finance as Doha Bank? Do you have long-term fund? Or can I finance through customer deposits? How do I make sure I know the project viability? How do I understand the inherent risk involved in gas financing? How do I ensure collaterals are sufficiently given? How do I make sure I have pari passu rights? Rights on the vessels, rights on the ships, rights on the equipments. What sort of arrangements have been done, and what is the risk involved? Is it all fully insured? So all these are factors we need to look at it before we give the money. And again, I don't have long-term resources to finance. I can take short-term lending. I can also give medium-term lending. But long-term liability I don't have. In the process, I cannot give long-term commitment to these projects. These are all 10 years if you ask me. Well, it's difficult. That's why we have limited participation. All banks chip in with their resources, but major resource comes from the export credit agencies. That's how the risk has to be measured.
Thank you, Dr. Sitaraman. Very nice learning with you.
Thank you. That's all.
What are the key areas focused by banks when providing facilities to gas distribution projects?
What are the key areas we have to look at? The number one, what's the market opportunity? Number two, what is the collateral we are getting? Number three, what sort of co-sharing we have in terms of rights? That's what you call the overall securitization principles. And again, what sort of risk cover the company has got so that our investment or lending is safe. Those are the criteria we apply in substance.
Can you highlight us on major gas distribution projects in GCC?
GCC, you have very many. As I said, Qatar has got Qatar Gas, Rosgas, Dolphin, and again, Fujairah transmission is a major one. Dana Gas is meant for Sharjah. They supply to Sharjah the natural gas, because Sharjah is also growing now, and the sweetened LNG is being given, and we also have a supply chain for the internal consumption here. We have 100% owned subsidiary for gas distribution from Nakilat, and they are also carrying huge 4 or 5 LPG vessels. And those are the distribution point, those are the activities we are seeing GCC wide. Again, Saudi Arabia has got distributions, hundreds of new businessmen are connecting gas supply chain through the Saudi gas stations. We also have Oman Gas Company, which has all been in the business for over the last 10 years, but they are limited. Qatar stands tall in terms of overall supply chain as well as the production and distribution.
What are the unique features in gas distribution projects?
Unique features in terms of gas distribution is you need long-term commitment for supplying this gas, because what you see is a fluctuation in the gas market is the price. If you have long-term commitment, the distribution cost comes cheaper. And again, if you have expanded capacity in terms of global supply, diversification and distribution synchronizes. Those are the norms which we need to measure in terms of the overall facts. And we also have to look at the nuances in terms of the captive business versus outsourcing. How much we can supply out and how much we need in-house. Those are the nuances we have to look at it critically.
What are the other modes of financing for gas distribution projects?
There are multiple modes. See, commercial lending is not the only solution. The major support comes from development banks, export credit agencies. Now, why these agencies are supporting? Because they have long-term resources. They also have cheaper cost of funds. Whereas banks mobilize, these are driven by government support. You see, the national exchequer and the investable surplus place like Japan or Korea, they create Exim banks, they create export credit agencies. Their cost of fund is cheaper. Like, for example, Qatar National Bank. They have the government exchequer in terms of the current account surplus. So for them, the cost of fund is different. Similarly, Qatar Development Bank. Those are the models which will cost effectively supply for long-term funds. Whereas the other option for them to get funded is issuing their own bonds. Nakilat can issue today, Qatar Gas can issue, Rosgas can issue globally and mobilize cost-effective funds. Similarly, you can go for senior debts, subordinated debts, which you can list it in various stock exchanges if it is within the commercial practice.
What could be the drivers for gas distribution GCC?
There are major drivers. Now I'm seeing it very, very positively with the current development, but for Qatar, nobody has got, after 2015, a supply of natural gas to support the overall economic momentum. If you look at a bigger picture, so much urbanization is going to take place. Airport development, seaport development, road, rail, Expo now. What does it mean in terms of power, electricity, water? How it's going to work? Who is going to supply the energy? Natural gas is a major opportunity. Like we created a dolphin to support the intra-Gulf supply of natural gas. From Qatar it goes to various pockets of the Gulf. The opportunity lies in supplying more and more to support the Expo, support the regional development, whether it is Oman or Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Sharjah, Fujairah. Those are the pockets where we need more and more energy supply. And because they have committed projects, 2022 is one aspect which we need captive consumption here. 2020 Expo is another one which we need to have backup the supply chain for power, whether it is water or electricity, as I said. So that's where the opportunity lies, and the region is growing, and we require major supply of LNG. It's a huge opportunity for Qatar in terms of supplying.